sincerely welcome everyone to our wall temple in Matthew walking. Today we will experience the meditation by the Venerable Hansard Archives, a Buddhist monk from Holland. He just arrived this morning to leading us the meditation, also the 5 universal goodness to deal with the UK Parliament students and the public's expectations. So how the 5 principles of universal goodness and meditation practice can help the public and can play a supportive roles. The event will start very soon, so please come down to have a seat so we can start the event. Thank you very much. ต้องนั่งตรงไหนนั่งนี่เหรอไม่มันเดินเอาพี่ปิ่งโอ้โหพี่ปิ่งจะนั่งทำไมพี่ปิ่งตื่นไปพี่ปิ่งเป็นพิธีกรลงทะเบียน Now we have about 22 participants.
Just stand here and speak. ไม่เคยทำไมพี่เนมเคยเห็นกันใช่ไหมอ๋อเหมือนที่หันชาเหมือนกันสตรอเบอรี่
Come in registration. Okay, I shall pass on the microphone to ยังไม่เริ่มนะครับใช่หมายว่าให้เขาพูดต่อเราเป็นสับเฉยSo may I invite everyone to have the proper seat so we can start very soon now. Thank you very much. Hello. The story will start very soon, so please. Yes. So very warm welcome everyone. The event will start very soon. We just waiting for a while before we can starting. And today the Venerable พระซันเดอร์ he is our proud to be present in here from Holland to have to speak and leading us the meditation today.
They never shop.
I'll leave it out here.แล้วใครถือไมค์ครับใครทำการ Soon we will start the event by have a meditation for a short while, and when the Venerable come to the stage, if you prefer, you can do respect to the Lord Buddha together with us. Now, Venerable Prasander Kematamo, he's just arrived to the main hall, so you pay respect to the Lord Buddha together by bowing 3 times. Bow, bow, bow.
Let us bow 3 times to pay respect to our Venerable teaching monk. Bow. Bow. Bow.
Good evening. It's quite an interesting evening today. We're going to talk a little bit about ourselves. We're going to talk about our temple and what we are doing to be able to communicate this with the government, and also to exchange a little bit with the Mr. Jonathan Lord, who's coming to join us today. Do you all know who I am? I'm a guest speaker today. I've been here before a few times. Used to do a retreat once, a while ago. Usually I stay in Holland. Is there something planned there? No. That's okay. Just naturally, huh? Usually I'm staying in Holland, and I am helping there with the work at the temple. This is a new temple, also in a former church, though not a derelict church. It's a church that wasn't used anymore. So the people are very happy that the church is now still used for spiritual purpose. Sorry. So today is a special evening with quite a unique program, but like any program in our temple, we always start with meditation. So is there anyone here who's never tried our meditation before? No? I think you are all experienced then. So normally my way of guiding meditation is a bit intuitive. Some people like it, some people don't. So, but I will invite you to try it out. So, as with any kind of Buddhist meditation, the purpose of Dhammakaya meditation is to bring the mind to focus in a natural way, in a way that will make you feel happy, comfortable, but also will help you to clear up your mind. Because this is the first step in developing wisdom, insight, and understanding. So when we are talking about meditation in our tradition, these 2 aspects are always there. So there is calm and there is insight, and when we are more calm, we also understand ourselves better. So I'm going to do a short guided meditation, and then Maria will help to teach or talk a bit about what our relation is with the principles of the principles of our organization in helping to develop a good society are related to the principles of, for example, the UK government. Yeah. Today we will emphasize what is known as the 5 principles of universal goodness, which is a teaching derived from the Buddhist text, talking about how to build character and to develop yourself into a good person, and to develop good habits. So this is about today's program, and we'll start with meditation first. So I would like all of you to, if you are interested, you can also learn about the posture of meditation. If you are familiar with sitting on the floor, you can also do that. We have some space reserved for that at the front, and there's meditation seats in the cupboard. The best posture for meditation is the half lotus posture, but it's quite okay to sit on the chair. When you are sitting for meditation, it is important that you feel alert and yet relaxed. So I always tell people, I always remind people that it's important that we keep our back straight. And if you're sitting on a chair, it may also be good to stretch your back a little bit before you lean backwards. So you have some space in your back. And you can put your right hand on your left with the right index finger against the left thumb. You can also notice from the Buddha image behind me. So I would like to ask you to join me in the meditation today. First of all, when we are relaxing our mind in meditation, it's important that we also relax our eyes first. Relax your eyelids. Allow your eyelids to become soft, at ease, relaxed. And you may notice that your eyelids will not be completely closed when they're relaxed. You can relax your face and your shoulders. Allow the energy of meditation to go through your body, from your top of your body until you reach your toes. Relax your shoulders, your chest, abdomen, your arms, and your legs and feet. Allow your entire body to relax and release the tension. Until you feel that you can let your body go. You don't feel worried about your body anymore. When we can let go of our body, we can then dedicate our attention, devote our attention to relaxing our mind. Allow your mind to be open and spacious. It might be helpful to imagine that you are sitting in a large plains of grass, in a landscape that is green, and all around you is grass. There are open plains and you feel comfortable and ease. Sitting in an open landscape. And all around you, you can see the sky. And you can see the landscape, open, spacious. And there is nothing and no one to be concerned about. And you can imagine that every single thought or feeling, emotion, just floats in this landscape, floats, and like a cloud in the sky, you can just allow your feelings and thoughts to be without trying to push them out or without trying to pull them in, without any interest, but also without any frustration. We learn to just watch, to just be with our thoughts and feelings until we feel there is openness, there is emptiness, and there is contentment, just being with your thoughts. When you feel empty and open, we can imagine that we are gradually becoming part of the atmosphere around us, as though we are blending in with the atmosphere around us. We become part of the atmosphere around us, as though our body is gradually blending in. softly and gently, we feel light. And now it's important that we become aware of being at the center. Being at the center is the core of Dhammakaya meditation. When we feel we are at the center, we can easily find the inner pathway. Imagine that you are at the center of the landscape. You are at the exact center, and you feel rooted. You feel at the right place. You feel you have connected with the center of the landscape, center of the world around you. And whatever direction you are looking, you are exactly at the center. And you feel this feeling of being at the center, and your body being at the center of the landscape. And now you may feel that the sun is shining in the landscape in which we are sitting. It is warm, it is light, and the sunlight is shining, and we feel the warmth on our back. And we might even feel that there's a little bit of sunlight that is glowing, that is shining, that is appearing at a center of our body. The center of our body, we can notice a little bit of light that has been left behind by the sun. This light is in us, and we might find it's easy to imagine it. We might also just remember any time that we have seen the sun shining, or we might remember the light of a candle, or the light that we are familiar with. And it may be just an inkling of a light, like a shade of a light. But that memory will help us, and this memory helps us to connect. We feel the connection, we feel at the center with the nice little light inside of us. It may be that sometimes the light disappears, or it may be that it reappears again once we remember it. Do not worry too much about it. It's just a reminder of the center of our body. It may also be that it's like there is an inner voice inside of us. And this inner voice is coming from within the deepest core of our being. And this inner core, we can hear an inner voice that is singing to us, that is chanting to us. Sammarahang, Sammarahang, Sammarahang. This is what we call a mantra. This word will help us in meditation. Samma means right or perfect. Arahang means enlightened, pure, awakened. This is a very good word that helps us to be reminded of our inner core. And sometimes our inner voice is very far away, and sometimes it's very close. Sometimes we like to listen to this inner voice as it is chanting to us. Sometimes we do not feel that need. Sometimes we listen to the mantra, but we do not remember the sunlight. Sometimes we remember the light, but we do not remember the mantra, the inner voice. They do not always go together, but that is quite okay. Because even if we do not remember anything at all, we will still feel the connection, and we should not forget that the inner light is always there. The inner light inside of us that is covered up by our inner defilements. It is actually always there. It is always inside of us. So we do not need to worry whether or not we can find it, or whether or not we can remember anything at our center. Because we are the center. The center is us. We are moving, we are progressing along the inner pathway, ever inwards, inside of us. And now we have come to the end of the meditation. You may be aware of the sounds around you. You may become aware of the seat on which you are sitting, and you may become aware of the temperature in the room. You gradually come back to your senses, to your everyday experience. And then you can gradually open your eyes, and we have reached the end of the meditation as we are moving to the next activity.
Thank you, Lompi. We have 3 guest speakers tonight, and our first speaker is Maria Mackie, who is a temple volunteer and who very kindly has agreed tonight to speak to us on the topic of how the UK Parliament and Buddhism uphold similar principles for good citizenship. So thanks, Maria.
So, Sawadika, everybody. Thank you for visiting our temple today. I just need to make sure that my slides are up. So, I'm not sure if Lumpy would like to load my slides. So, Lumpy, we just need to load the slides.
Is it working?
You seem to have your deck up first. So. Oh, okay, very good. Right, okay. My name is Maria. And I've been a temple volunteer here for several years, so some of you may have seen me around, and just like to say hello to everybody. We're really happy to welcome you as part of UK Parliament Week. But in fact, we're also happy just to welcome you to our temple. At all times, you are most welcome. When I was first asked to do this talk, I kind of freaked out because I don't really know much about UK Parliament. I come from a sort of science and engineering background, and I see it on TV, but like everybody else, I don't really understand what goes on. So it was a really good opportunity to learn a bit more and to do a bit of due diligence about UK Parliament. And suddenly, it just became immediately apparent why there are so many parallels between Buddhism and the UK Parliament, believe it or not. So this is sort of UK Parliament 101, or Parliament for Dummies, if you like. So I apologise to those people that are very conversant with what UK Parliament does. So the purpose of this talk is not really to present any opinions on ethics outlined in specific laws, etc., but simply to draw parallels in the execution of law through Parliament. So Parliament is a group that's made up of, it's a group of people that's made up of 2 groups of people. So we've got the House of Lords, which are appointed, whether we like it or not, and another group which is the House of Commons, which are elected by us. And here you can see how these two groups are kind of related to government. So the UK government can't pass or make any laws without the agreement of these groups. So all of these parties, UK government, House of Lords, House of Commons, they all share in the task of making and shaping the laws of this country. So what actually goes on? Well, there's a lot of committees. And we like committees at the Temple. We have lots of committees, we do lots of discussions. And a large part of the work that takes place in both of those houses takes place in committees. And committees undertake debate, investigation, and they publish the findings of their debate. And they scrutinise the work and the costs of government. So what do these committees talk about? They talk about loads of stuff that shapes our lives. So they talk about the economy, our homeland protection, how secure we are, climate change, families and children. They talk about our health and animal welfare and a whole host of other topics. Now, when they talk, obviously they publish what they talk about, and there are records that are kept. And those records are the proceedings, which are known as, if any of you have heard of it, the Hansard Archives. The only reason I know about it is that I had a friend who used to take a lot of the minutes of the meetings for Hansard, and she said it was an incredibly stressful job to try and summarise everything that was being spoken about. Questions and answers from both houses are recorded, including the unanswered questions. Daily papers and journals, the debates, they're all written down. Rules and guidelines for business in this country and doing business abroad. More journals, annual reports, and scientific and technology research. It's all recorded. And all of those parliamentary archives can be searched online. So, New Freedom of Information Act, a lot of this is becoming commonly accessible by all of us. And if we didn't think that was enough, then there's also Parliament TV. So Parliament makes available live and archived coverage of all of their proceedings taking place in public, their internal debates and committee meetings in both the House of Commons and the House of Lords. So it's all reasonably visible. So why am I telling you all of this? You'll see there that there's a group of highlighted words which are absolutely key here. So the fact that there's committee meetings and a lot of discussion and taking the view of many, many people in order to arrive at a decision, it's very inclusive. Lots of committees, sharing, and being aware of all viewpoints, so having empathy. There's a lot of investigation. You don't make decisions without having done the due diligence and the research, or having experience, scrutiny and learning. There's a lot of debate, people talking amongst each other to reach a common agreement. Consideration of topics that affect not just your welfare, but our welfare and the welfare of our planet. Guidelines to government groups and individuals regarding these laws. And then publication of their findings and making those publications accessible to people via online searches. And then, of course, with Parliament TV, there's the availability or the broadcasting of live streaming and archive footage of debates and committee meetings. If you're ever at home during the day and you switch on the TV, sometimes there's Parliament TV. And if you're like me, then you'll rapidly switch it off again. And there's also, so all of that gives you the provision of greater clarity and understanding of the work of Parliament. So it's all there so that we can understand more and be clear about what's going on. We may not always agree, but it's all there for us to delve into if we want to. So how does that apply to Buddhism then? Let's take inclusivity. At this temple, and in many temples all around the world, many Buddhist temples, we welcome all those who come here in search of freedom from habits that cause suffering. So, for example, we try to have a respectful acceptance of others across our many differences. And we all, whether we like it or not, it's human to divide ourselves into groups. Girls and boys, men and women, popular people, not popular people, music, sporty. It's just a natural thing to divide into groups. But when we come here, we attempt to harmonise ourselves and empathise with others. So we're thinking about the community as a whole. So the next thing I talked about was investigate, scrutinise and debate. We have, so if you come here, and you're very welcome, on a Tuesday and a Thursday, we have regular Dhamma talks. So Dhamma is the collective teaching of Lord Buddha. And this practice allows us to question and learn. So we don't just take things for granted. There's lots of things about Buddhism that we just don't understand. It can get pretty complicated with cosmology, etc. And the monks are here to sort of guide us and steer us if we want to. Personally, I just come here for meditation because I think it's an absolute gift, and we're very lucky to have these facilities here for us. We patiently listen to others and ourselves and appreciate the subtle nuances, including other people's feelings and other contexts. And this allows us to think of outside of ourselves and be less self-centric. So, for example, if you're driving, someone cuts you up, if someone is rude to you, your immediate reaction might be to get angry. But actually, if you come here and you meditate enough and you listen enough about Buddhist teachings, you'll realise that actually it's using up wasted cycles, wasted resources. There is a new way of thinking, a new way to behave, taking a fresh approach, and that is to empathise with the person who's been like that. Maybe they've had a hard time, they've had some bad news. You just need to be more understanding. It's better for you, and it's just better for everybody around you. And actually you'll find that everybody wants a piece of that. They want a piece of being calm and just having an easy life. Things will go better for you in the end, and for the other person. So here we're encouraged to question, discuss, and learn from the Dhamma so that we can apply it in our daily lives. So next one then is consideration. We consider society as well as individuals. We consider greater than that. We spread our loving kindness, not just to individuals, but to all living beings. And we consider our living planet and the modern environment. And then I also talked about guidelines, publications, and archives. I'm looking at this, by the way, because every time I turn away, then I'm not by the microphone. So we too have many resources to draw upon from Lord Buddha's scriptures, brought to us via our Buddhist monks, many of whom are exceptional Pali scholars. We've got some of them here this evening. They're probably too modest to say too much. And we also have Buddhist publications and Dhamma TV, which is live broadcast TV from the temple in Thailand on teachings, ceremonies, etc. There's something called the Eightfold Path, which is meant as a guideline. And these are 8 aspects of life, all of which can be integrated into everyday life to bring us closer to the Buddhist path. So that involves right understanding, right intent, right action, right speech, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So the next thing I spoke about was clarity and understanding. Well, clarity comes through meditation and through teaching, Buddhist teaching, so that we don't just react to situations, as I described before, from our stale habits, but we respond from a much wider perspective with fresh possibilities. And we've seen that because there is a growing popularity of Buddhism in the West because of these practices for introspective calm and the stability offered through meditation. We see many, many groups of school children coming here. It's great to see groups that are taking their exams in lower 6 and upper 6. And we also have the Cub Scouts that come here. It's amazing that they do the meditation, they listen to the monk, and you can see a visible difference. But it's great for those taking exams because it does make you sharper. If you can still your mind and you can empty it, I keep on saying this, I sound like a long playing record, but it's great to be able to have a reboot and to just declutter your mind. And as soon as you walk out the door, you're much sharper. You're able to make better decisions. And you can see already that there's lots of parallels with the way that UK Parliament kind of conducts itself. You may not always agree, but those are the principles. So underpinning Buddhist principles is generosity. And the ancient Pali word for generosity is dana. And when the school children come here, I always tell them that there's many ways to be generous. So not just giving presents, which is a great thing, but teaching others, being respectful of others, not just living, but the dead as well. Encouraging others, encouraging them to do well or to feel good about themselves, and being caring with our elderly community, in fact, just being caring, full stop, and being forgiving. So those are, that may be a difficult thing for some people, but these are all aspects of generosity which underlies Buddhist principles. So there are many ways to be generous, and here you can see in the temple, the Buddhist monks are paying their respect to Lord Buddha. And this is just a little quiz, so you can finish my sentence for me. True happiness is something that gets... Anyone? From the picture? Quick clue? No? Anyone? No? Well, it's being generous, but it's doing something with butter on a piece of bread. True happiness is something that gets spread around. And that was a quote from Lord Buddha over 2,000 years ago. Because there's no fun in being happy yourself if you can't make others happy. You need to be generous with your good nature, with how you feel. And by doing that, it's just everybody has a good feeling. So, I'd like to... did I not have the right slide up there when I asked you that? Oh, I beg your pardon, sorry. So I'd like to thank you for your attention this evening. We'd like to see more of you at the temple. We're very glad that you're able to come this evening. Our meetings are Tuesdays and Thursdays, so please look us up on Dhammakaya.london.co.uk, and we also have a Facebook page as well. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Maria. Before you go, would you mind just taking any questions that anybody might have about what you said?
Of course.
Would anybody like to question or comment anything? Make a comment or a question? No, I believe that Rana, would you like to come and take the microphone so that we could hear you better?
Oh, you could pass it
please.
It's okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a great insight into Buddhism and Parliament. So I just wanted to say a few words because I do believe that this is the perfect time to introduce Buddhism, Buddhist meditation, mindfulness into Parliament. And the reason I say that, from my own experience, my background is also engineering, but more recently financial services, wealth management. And I can see that there are many people who are benefiting from meditation and benefiting from practice. But coming back to Parliament, if we look at what's happening to individuals, to society, to the country as a whole, in business we use a tool called STEP, and that's a good way of analyzing what's going on. So first, S stands for Socio-Cultural Issues. What's happening in terms of, you can call it obesity, you can call it mental anxiety, mental health. These are big issues. T for technological issues. What's happening in society with regard to technology, internet, overload of information, people becoming anxious, restless, not living in the present moment. There are even cases that children are so addicted to social media, emails, internet, that they're losing the art of conversation and how to relate to each other. So those are the effects of technology. E stands for economic issues. This is another pressure on society in terms of making your way in life, the economic pressures on individuals. These are becoming more and more acute. Another E is environmental issues, which is again on the agenda all the time. And then P for politics. We are now becoming more polarized as societies, both politically across Europe, in America. There's more and more uncertainty. So if you imagine all of these pressures are impacting on the individual lives, at the center, the only constant amongst all of these pressures is the ability to remain calm, the ability to focus, concentrate, and the ability to make the right decisions for our politicians and the right response to all these issues. So, I do believe that if we can introduce this tool, meditation and mindfulness is a tool to actually solve all the great issues of the day. So, if we can give that awareness to our politicians and leaders, I think that will have a good result. Thank you.
I think that was a brilliant summary, actually, of my talk. And it's really great to open the debate on a lot of this. It's good to have these discussions because I think these days that there are too many parallel streams of information. And it's good to open the debate with our politicians, but also to really start to think about our children as well and how they should grow up in this chaotic, frenzied world of information overload and a lack of attention and just being able to handle life in a very superficial, light touch way. So I think that it's fantastic that we have the opportunity to talk about this and to highlight its importance in our lives. And we're very grateful that you've all come this evening to listen to that. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. We now have a coffee break. So we've got 15 minutes or so for a coffee. Please help yourselves for refreshment. Help yourselves to refreshments at the back there. For those of you who maybe aren't familiar with our temple, the ladies is at the back on this side and the gents is on the back at that side if you need to pay a visit. So help yourself to refreshments, and then we have the second half of the programme in about a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes or so. Thank you very much.
ไฟที่ให้ล่าสุดนี่อยู่ในนี้เนาะยังไม่ได้อยู่ในเครื่องเนาะอยู่ในเครื่องแล้วแบ็คสไลด์มาแรกสุดแบ็คโอเค
ก็จะมา8:40
The second half of our evening is going to kick off with our second talk by Venerable Hansard, who is going to talk to us now about how the 5 principles of universal goodness and meditation practice can help the public play a supportive role with regards to our topic of Parliament.
Before we have the MP, our local MP, give a talk about the Parliament and probably also introduction. The thing that I would like to do is talk a little bit about our principles in all the activities that we do. And this will also help to conclude the evening with continuing the comparison with how we could contribute to the UK, to the society here, and how that could be in cooperation with the Parliament or in cooperation with the government. There's a story that I'd like to tell you. Everyone likes stories. The thing that maybe some of you have heard about universal goodness. This is a principle that we use in our teachings based on the Buddhist texts. And to explain this, let me tell you a story about when I was, many years ago, when I was a volunteer, not a monk yet, working in a French center. This was a meditation center, and at that time we were talking about the work that needed to be done at the center. And one of the works that was done on a regular basis was to clean the meditation room. And I remember that one day there was one of the staff members of the center asked me to help to clean the meditation room, and I thought to myself, oh, it's not really dirty. Maybe it's not necessary to clean it. I don't see any dirt. And of course, at that time I was still a young man, a student, and maybe didn't understand the full scope of the teachings of the center. And he told me that something important. He said, cleaning the meditation room is just like you are cleaning the mind. You may not always know your inner limitations, your inner defilements. We all have our limitations, our defilements, like anger or confusion in your mind, or everything that all the negative thoughts and unrealistic perceptions that are cluttering up your mind. That is actually something we do not always notice, we do not always see. He said, so if we compare the meditation clutter up your mind become less and less in a natural way. So this is what we call the 5 principles of universal goodness. I'm not sure how this works, but I'll try. This is going very fast. Alright. These are the 5. Okay. These are the 5 principles. First one is orderliness. Second one is cleanliness. The third one is politeness, but this also includes gentleness. Because polite, it can be just a manner. But this is also politeness from inside, gentleness. The fourth one is punctuality, the way we use our time. The fifth one is concentration, which actually, these principles are found throughout the Buddhist teaching. And we can consider these principles that we use in our training, when we do the trainings here, which includes the meditation retreats, which includes the weekly activities here, or which includes many other kind of training, like training for youth. So this is something it comes back in every way. So when we are more aware of this, we will notice. Because actually in the Buddhist teaching, there are 3 pillars, you could say. Can you read this? Yeah? Okay. These are the 3 pillars of the Buddhist teaching. The first one is the training of ethical conduct, or ethical living in an ethical way, living in a morally profound, in a morally meaningful way, which is basically our habits of speech, our habit of action, the way we act to others and to ourselves in our daily life, in a principled way. And the second one is the training of the mind, and the training of concentration, which I already mentioned, the mind, mindfulness, meditation. And the third one is training of wisdom. If we'd like to develop ourselves in meditation, we are talking about number 2, training of concentration, which also involves being mindful of your center throughout the day. It's meditation is not just something we do in this room, it's something you can, I'm sure that many of you have discovered that you can bring this with you in your daily life. And it can give you much strength and inspiration throughout the day to go back to this center point inside of you and to bring it, to give this, use this energy from inside into your daily life. Bring it into your daily life, apply it into your daily life. So this is something very important. If we are learning about the training of the mind, it's very important that we also take care of our habits in action and speech, our daily habits of our daily life, which is where these 5 principles of universal goodness come in. When we are looking at a meditation room and we think, it doesn't look dirty, I better do something else. It's one way to look, to train yourself. But there's another way when you come into a meditation room and you say, and they may not look like it's dirty, but I'm just going to clean it. Okay, I'm going to take good care of this meditation room, and I'm going to make this meditation room become something sacred by cleaning it, by taking care of it. And in that way, we take care of our as well. This is how our daily habits are related to our daily concentration. passed away, she said, my love of cleanliness has always been a part of me as long as I can remember. I have fought for a long time to keep cleanliness wherever I go. Cleanliness has become a symbol of this temple, so the symbol of the temple that she founded. It has contributed to the faith, confidence, and respect of the people who come here. They see this place as a sanctuary and as a serene place to practice meditation. Please do not abandon the way of cleanliness that I have worked so hard to maintain. So she always emphasized that we keep the surroundings around us, especially the temple, we keep it sacred by taking care of the cleanliness, taking care of the orderliness. But actually, this is not only something in the temple, we can actually bring it into our daily life. I think in the West, we do emphasize orderliness and cleanliness a lot. But there is also another part of this culture that Kunyai introduced in our temple and that we use in our daily trainings, the trainings that we provide in our activities. And this is also an important aspect of the content that we provide for society. And that is the part of politeness, which also includes gentleness. So if you maybe you are aware, you've noticed that we emphasize this a lot. Whenever every day the monks meet or the personnel here meet, we greet each other. We use the way we greet in Buddhism by using the hands to greet each other. The Anjali symbol, the hands folded, and then we greet each other. This is the way I was also trained as a monk. Every day you meet each other, you greet each other in a respectful way. And this is very important. When Kunyai was still alive, the nun of which you just saw the picture, she always emphasized this very much. Whenever somebody came to the temple, she always greeted them. She always greeted them using her hands folded like this. This is very important of the culture. So you may notice that when we have the activities, there is the bowing, there's a lot of culture. This is not only culture, but it's also a way to practice ourselves in gentleness, practice ourselves to bring some mindfulness in the way we interact. So when the students, or when the young students or the young scouting, the kids from the scouting come here to train, we also teach them how to greet each other using your hands. Even though, of course, it's not part of English or British culture, but still it's something, we can take, at least we can take the principle with us to bring in some gentleness in our daily life. So this is something that's very important, but all of that would not be possible without the power of meditation. We would not be able to understand what real cleanliness is. We would not be able to understand what gentleness really is if we didn't meditate. Meditation, in a way, is helping us to remind us of the importance of universal. Because whenever we go back, we practice ourselves using these five principles. We go back to the principles of mindfulness. When you notice in meditation, there's two aspects. We have the part of mindfulness. We have the part of well-being. They go together. When we practice discipline, we focus mostly on the part of mindfulness. And when we practice gentleness, softness, we practice more the part of well-being. When we practice both mindfulness and well-being in our daily in our daily, in modern society, mindfulness has become the new fashion word. It's a lot of activities, which includes mindfulness. But there is also another aspect, which is meditation and deepening meditation. This is not completely the same. When we are mindful, this is like holding a screwdriver. If you make a very modern comparison, if you use a modern metaphor, mindfulness is like holding a screwdriver. And when you are actually deepening your meditation, then that is compared with turning around the screwdriver. Because mindfulness brings our mind back to the here and now. But when we meditate, when we allow our mind to travel along the inner pathway inside, we start to let go more. We feel inside of us that we are becoming softer, and that we feel more whole. We feel less fragmented. And then we also feel certain contentment and happiness. This is deeper than mindfulness. This is about actually inner concentration, inner meditation. And this is what we do, and this is where mindfulness eventually leads us to. But they go hand in hand. They go hand in hand in our daily life. So you cannot put the nut, the screw into the wall. You cannot drive the screw into the wall if you do not first have mindfulness to put the screw there on the right spot. You need to drive it into the wall, and then this is giving you the depth of meditation. So this is the thing that when we practice mindfulness and meditation, it gives us focus. Gives us focus in meditation. This is something I think you have experienced, right? When we practice in meditation, we feel we get more focus. We also get more freedom. The freedom to make good decisions, to not be enslaved by our habits, to be able to make decisions with a mind that is free. And also, as a result of that, to be more creative. Sometimes thinking patterns, we're thinking the same things and we never seem to solve our problems. Did you ever experience that? So when we meditate, it's sometimes like we just get out of that pattern, and we find mindfulness, and we also find creativity. Because we let go of our patterns, we just look at our thoughts and from the center, and the thoughts just do not control us anymore. This is something maybe for some people it sounds very hard, but you're already doing it. It's just a matter of practice, and you will find it more easier and easier. And this will also lead you to wisdom. In Dutch language, the country where I'm from, in Dutch language there is a proverb that says, mindfulness is the mother of wisdom. When you have more mindfulness and concentration in your daily life, it will also help you to use the wisdom inside of you in a better way. Sometimes we are aware that something is the right thing to do, but we do not. It's somehow we're not connecting with that wisdom. Or sometimes we are not really using the wisdom that we have, the principles that we have. By mindfulness, we can connect more with the wisdom inside. And because as a result of that, we are also in a more principled life. And this is called inclusive purity, which means that you are more principled, that you can connect more with principles, what you believe in, morally speaking, in a more ethical way. So mindfulness in many ways is very good. And universal goodness really helps you to connect with all of that, to really connect, to really help you develop in meditation. Mindfulness is easier once you have these basics of orderliness, cleanliness, and also gentleness. So this is something in general I'd like to talk about, to let you know, so you have some context to understand how important it is to develop these principles in our daily life. And when we teach the youth, or when we have a retreat here, we emphasize these principles about this universal goodness. I'll just show you some examples. You're very, very quiet. Very mindful audience. So when we are doing our activities in the center here, we will do this through simple, daily key habits. There's actually a lot of body of research that proves that there are certain habits that are so important in our daily life that they actually help to develop other good habits. Have you ever heard about that? Like certain key habits that are so fundamental to our daily life that they actually help to stimulate other good habits. For example, in research they found that daily exercise, actually helps to also motivate us to practice other good habits. It's not only helping us to be more healthy, but it's also helping us to develop many other good habits. I think that apart from exercise, there is also these habits of universal goodness that helps us in our daily life to develop many other good habits. When we are doing the training in our temple, we also we do so to many kind of people, not only the youth, but not only the retreats do we have, but we also have activities for the elderly. We also have activities for children in a more monastic setting, like more monastic context, like training for novices, and children learn to be a monk for a short while. And we also, many of these activities we practice, we teach as a group. I mean, we teach people to practice these good habits, these key habits, as a group. And let me just give you some examples. And you have to be patient with me a little bit, because once the MP once the MP arrives, if he's arriving today, I think he is, then we also have to, we will have to explain this once more. But I'd just like you to know, I'd like all of you to know this first. This is an example of activities that we have, activities for youth. Cleanliness and orderliness, we train children from a young age to help take responsibility for the household. So this is sometimes a cause of conflict in some households. Sometimes the parents and the children, they can get into arguments because of this, because of helping to clean the dishes or something like that. I remember my grandfather talking to me once. He said, he said the dishwasher. You call it a dishwasher, right? The machine that washes your dishes. He said, because one of the most important key moments for parents to talk with their children was often during the washing of the dishes. So once we invented the dishwasher, we do not talk with our children anymore. I think he was not a very old-fashioned man, you know. He was a professor, and he was an educated man. He was not someone who was very living in the past or something. But he said, you know, the dishwasher didn't really help us to communicate better. So cleaning is not just, we do not ask the children to clean the bathroom during our trainings because the bathrooms of the temple are very dirty. we ask them so that they can train themselves, so that they can learn to take responsibility for their environment. So this is also another example, politeness and gentleness. During the activities of our temple, we also have these examples. You can see here there's the activities of giving alms. Okay, have you participated in these ones? There's a tradition in Thailand for monks to receive alms with the alms bowl, and then the people will give alms in the alms bowl, and the children in this way also practice to give, to be generous, to be gentle. This is very important. And we also sometimes, as I mentioned before, we train the children to use some Buddhist culture, like using your hands to greet someone. But they might not use it in their daily lives, but it will be an example of gentleness in daily life. So these are some examples of the sort of things that you can learn in your daily life. But the most important thing is to be mindful of and to practice meditation. That is a very important key concept of the culture that we try to introduce into society here in the UK or anywhere else in the world for that matter. Yes. So once just now Maria just explained that there is actually quite some similarities in the way that a local or a national politician is trying to improve society and the process in which that is done with the way that we as monks, we at the temple are trying to improve society by instilling or by encouraging people to develop, to build up character. So this is not all that different, but I think there is also some differences. Sometimes the process is very similar, finding information and teaching it, and trying to use this good information to develop and practice and make our habits more firm into our daily life. But there is a tendency, because of the limitations, of the government, to involve itself into the personal affairs of its citizens. There are certain things which the government cannot do, cannot involve itself too much with religion or with something that might be seen as religious. So there are some differences, but there is also a lot of similarities in that we try to improve society. And I think that is a very good thing that Maria mentioned, that we are trying to work together to improve society by working on the most smallest unit of society, which is who? Which is the individual, you and me. We start with ourselves, and then from our practicing our habits, we will also be able to have more inner inner strength, to also help to be a good friend to other people in the spiritual and good life. So I think that is a good summary of how we are actually working on the same thing, and I hope that we can communicate this and we can work more and more with the government also. And I've always been very pleasantly surprised by the news coming from the UK that mindfulness is more and more becoming an important topic, not only in Buddhist or meditation centers or Hindu meditation centers or yoga centers, but actually in daily politics. You actually hear that the word mindfulness is becoming more important in education to counteract the habits of the tendency in modern society to do things give more inner integrity to our mind in our daily life. Perhaps some of you have heard of the example of the American member of Congress whose name is Tim Ryan. Perhaps some of you have heard of him. Tim Ryan is actually a member of the Congress in America, the US Congress, Democrat Party, and he's actually written a book about how to use mindfulness in modern society, not only in the meditation center, but actually in education, actually in daily training, the way we train people. It's interesting that, for example, in Holland, mindfulness and meditation is actually used in simple, not only in the the healthcare sector, not only in the healthcare sector, but actually in certain things that are derived from healthcare. For example, even healthcare applications on the telephone from certain healthcare insurances. You can actually learn about mindfulness or meditation on an application. And even the police force in Holland or the other parts of the government are actually using mindfulness and meditation. Not only a few groups or a few departments, but actually the entire forces training using meditation and mindfulness in a daily life. But I heard one person who is actually introducing mindfulness and meditation in the Dutch army, and he told me that he cannot use the word meditation because it's not the right atmosphere for that. He said, when there's a lot of guys, mostly guys, sitting next to each other, it's not this right atmosphere to talk about meditation. He told me that. He's a former soldier himself. And he told me that we use another word. We might use a word like concentration training. Or we might use another kind of word. But that's not the point. It doesn't have to be called, you do not have to call it, you don't have to give it a mystical or religious word. As long as we learn to close our eyes and learn for the mind to train itself to be in one place. And also to do things in a more disciplined and gentle way according to the principles of universal goodness. So in a few moments, the MP, Mr. Jonathan
Okay, well, I'd like to welcome you, Mr. Jonathan Lord, to our event this evening as part of UK Parliament Week. I've been asked to just give you a quick summary of what I've talked about already. So it was really a UK Parliament for dummies, I'm afraid, because I don't understand it that well. And how the two groups within Parliament, the House of Lords
Thursday's even more reasonable. That really is a working day. So it's at the House of Commons sits from 9 till 5. And on Fridays, the Parliament is given over to private members' legislation. So it's not government-led legislation. So unless you're really interested in that particular, normally quite small bills, Friday is very often the day that most MPs plan ahead to have their main constituency days, and I certainly do. So occasionally I have to cancel all my meetings and my surgery because there's a bill involved that I'm really interested in, but normally on a Friday, the House only sits half a day anyway, and it's normally very technical pieces of legislation. So on a Friday is my main, if any of you are representatives of other organisations, you're involved in a charity or whatever it might be, Fridays are always the best day to grab your MP because they can plan their Dhamma in advance to visit schools and businesses and charities and hospitals and doctor surgeries and whatever it might be. And then in the afternoon, most Friday afternoons, I and most other MPs hold our surgeries, where of course people can come to us to our 3 months later who that list of candidates are and in exactly what order they should be elected. So I think that the way that we elect our parliament, and there is a way of proportional representation to keep a reasonable constituency linkage, it wouldn't be quite the same, but under the single transferable vote you still elect MPs for a slightly wider area and 2 or 3 more of them than we do at the moment with single members constituencies. But I think that actually is a really important part of our democracy and something that works well. And I mentioned the lobbies as well. And obviously in many countries of the world, even those that are thriving democracies, those who govern those countries in terms of being in charge of the finances or education or whatever it might be, then obviously in some countries, America is obviously a prime example, the president chooses his cabinet, and occasionally he'll choose a senator as a sitting congressman or senator, but normally, now that has advantages in terms of, obviously in terms of patronage for the president. It might have advantages as well in terms of choosing experts for those roles. But again, I think one of the great things about our parliamentary system is that those who govern us as Chancellor of the Exchequer and Environment Secretary and Education Secretary are MPs themselves, and every day as they go through the voting lobbies, they get nobbled by their colleagues, telling them about what's happening on their patch, and what their colleagues through osmosis, through what they've been told by their constituents, and their own and MPs' own views. So our ministers remain, I think, much more grounded in what's working on the ground and what isn't, and they are far more accessible to parliamentarians and the public and their own constituents, far more than in many other democracies of the world. Of course, I ended the Scouts in Warsaw were absolutely terrific, and I did a lot of interaction with them. And I ended, of course, with the story of Parliament. I was asked one of the final questions, teed me up very nicely. It was, does the Queen make laws? Can the Queen say what she wants to happen? And of course, that teed up very nicely my sort of final peroration when I was able to talk about the great march of history over the last 900 or 1,000 years of our country, which is largely, it's not a linear progression, but basically we've gone from being governed by a strong man, normally by kings, through to today, where we have a monarch who represents us on the world stage and is the public figure that we all look up to in civic terms in this country as well. But the Queen just signs the laws. They are given to her by Parliament. And within that Parliament, I still think that the House of Lords does a very good revising job of revising legislation. But those laws are handed to her by Parliament, and it's the House of Commons. And those 650 MPs elected by towns and villages up and down the country who through you choose the government and make laws and ask the Queen to sign them. And for all the faults and the caveats that we might have as to how things always work and so on and so forth, I would suggest that our parliamentary democracy is actually still in pretty good shape, and that we're very fortunate to have it. So those are my opinions. I don't know if there's a chance for Q&A or whether how you wish to play it. So for anyone who didn't hear that, it's been asked, is it all attrition and sort of combative politics, or is it slightly more collaborative and friendly than that? And the answer is, I think it ends up being a judicious mixture of both.
seems to be many career politicians, and if one of those scouts or any other young person was going to ask you whether they were interested in politics, would you advise them to have a real life first and do a normal job, get life experience, and then go into politics, or go straight in?
That's a really, really good question. And the honest answer to it is that if you're going into politics because you want to be a cabinet minister or a prime minister, I'm afraid to say probably the earlier you start, the better. So most famously recently, of course, David Cameron, he did have one proper job. If you call it a proper job, he really, he was at Carlton Television, but it was a sort of PR job. He was the corporate affairs spokesman and PR guru for the company. So, a big public company and an important role, but not entirely divorced from the sort of skill set that you'd expect a very good politician like David Cameron to have. And the rest of his working years were, as you know, a central office and then as a special advisor, most famously, of course, to Norman Lamont, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and we got bumped out of the ERM, and you see a very youthful David Cameron lurking in the shadows somewhere, and he was one of Norman Lamont's special advisors. And of course, David Cameron's great political soulmate and friend George Osborne, exactly the same, central office and then special advisor. I don't know what we do about that. It's not true. It's obviously not true of everybody. It's not true of me. I had a proper and full career in advertising before I went into Parliament. I've been involved in local government in basically an unpaid capacity, but I was a director of Saatchi & Saatchi and so on. You look at David Davis now, heading up our Brexit negotiations. He was a director of Tate & Lyle at a youngish age. He had a proper career behind him. Eric Pickles, the larger-than-life former Communities and Local Government Secretary, I think he had a proper job, but he also cut his teeth in political terms by taking I think he was born and brought up, but anyway, he lived in Bradford, and he took what was a Labour town and turned it Conservative, which is and ran the council as the leader for a number of years. So not everyone goes up through central office, special advisor on the Tory side, or a trade union lobbyist, and Walworth Road as it then was, Labour HQ, Labour span on the other. But it has to be said that some of our most successful and ambitious politicians do that. And of course, as in any walk of life, the sooner you start on something, the sooner you're making networks, and if you're of an impressive yes, obviously, we've got some doctors and a handful of teachers, and I'm one of only 2 advertising people. I'm sure there's also other marketing people. But on the labour side, they're equally white collar, but it's just that they've come, that they've been, trade union or charity lobbyists, or they're lecturers, or if they've been in the private sector, they tend to be lawyers. So it's a different kind. It's a public sector white collar rather than a more private sector white collar. But we are 2 white collar. Let's say that. But as I say, apart from the enormous omission of having people, not very many people from blue collar or semi-skilled or even sort of clerical jobs. Obviously, one might expect a parliament to be full of people who've been to university and so on and so forth. In the representative sense, it's a shame we don't hear some of those voices, and they're not getting to parliament in the way that they used to. And one thing that I would say is that most people do not end up in parliament by accident. If you think so, just take my own example, for example, but I think this is true of virtually all MPs. When you have to get on your party's approved list, so there's a big winnowing process there. They put you through a day of all sorts of tests and so on and so forth, and lots and lots of interview stages and so on before you get on the approved list to be a party candidate, and then to actually get into parliament to get a winnable seat, a so-called safe seat. So Woking had, I think, 300 applications to be the Conservative candidate, and Humphrey Maitland stood down. So it's a very, and of course, unless it's a landslide general election, where 100 or more seats are changing hands, at any given election, you might have 30, 40, 50 seats maybe changing hands between the parties, and then the 2 main parties might have 20 retirements each. So for example, as we stand at the moment, the Conservative Party will be putting together a candidates list that possibly has 800 or 900 people on it, and that's highly selective. They will have rejected many hundreds more, maybe thousands more, in terms of their CVs, or they didn't pass the selection process. But then for those 900 to become MPs, all of them are really looking at just between 50 and maybe 30, as I say, if it's a landslide, maybe 100 seats to try and become it. So only of those 900 that go through all of those hurdles to get on the candidates list, of that 900, only 50 or 70 or so will actually become members of Parliament. So it is a hugely competitive. Why do we do it? So that's another question. And different people will give you different answers. And it obviously is a mixture of public service, but enjoying other aspects of it. And I think the general public, it's probably healthy. The sort of the spitting image type thing that you make fun of those that will you, and that way we will stay safe, and hopefully most people stay vaguely honest. But actually, if you think about it, because of the sorts of people I've described going into politics in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, actually most MPs are taking a pay cut to go into Parliament. So you've got to want to do it, and you've got to stick with it. And then if you try hard enough, hopefully you'll face fits at the end of the day.
Thank you. I'm aware that we are running a little over time. Would you have time just for one brief last question?
Absolutely, and then I'll stay behind if anyone wants a word can.
Evening. Barclays bankers and businesses are actually bringing in people doing mindfulness and meditation. I was wondering if there's anything like that in Parliament, how the MPs cope with stress and strains of your work?
That's absolutely, that's a terrific question, and I think you're absolutely right. I think that for many reasons, including the strange hours of the single-minded on issues. You can change things. You can certainly change things at the margin by having words with ministers and so on and so forth. But obviously those who really do love the country are the ministers. And of 650 MPs, there's only 80 ministers at any given time. So I think, and what perhaps people don't fully understand is the enormous email post box that we get. So every day, we're getting 200 or 300 emails, and funnily, obviously, some of that is casework, and that takes time. And most MPs, I think, are very diligent about doing that. So I've said earlier, I think that's an important part of our system, that we get that granular understanding of what happens can happen to people in the system, whether it's education, or health, the tax system, child support, or whatever it might be, or the immigration system. But of course, those who are writing in on national or international issues, they're not normally writing in to congratulate their MP and the Prime Minister on the wonderful job they're doing. They're normally writing in because they're very, they're critical or upset and so on. And of course, that barrage every day that you get, unless you've got the hide of a rhinoceros, so you're right. I think MPs are stressed and too stressed, and that comes out, I'm afraid, in some of the problems that we see recently. People drink a bit too much, and they're away from their families, so all of that. So I think now it's interesting we should talk about mindfulness. So I have someone, he's a Labour peer, former boss of Marks and Spencer's, wonderful man called Andrew Stone, Lord Stone, has started an all-party group on mindfulness. And I'm going to get to know Andrew. I know him a little bit already. I'm going to get to know him an awful lot better, because he's also a leading member of the all-party group on Egypt. So I'm going on a trip with him very shortly to meet President Sisi and all of the parliamentary leaders and so on and so forth in Egypt. So I'm going to get to know him very well, and I'm going to ask him what is happening within Parliament in terms of, so he as you can tell, having started the group, I know that he's a huge advocate of mindfulness and the benefits of meditation and other aids to mindfulness. So I'm going to ask him what is in place at the moment for MPs, and we give him a very kind offer that one or two practitioners here would be willing to come and do some sessions with MPs. So I will absolutely find out about that, and thank you for that kind offer. And if it's not in place already, then I'll try and help arrange some sessions. So that would be fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you all very much indeed.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. So we're going to just finish off the evening receiving a blessing from our Venerable Mark. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this very interesting talk. I remember you mentioned that it's a very unique situation that a member of the Parliament comes to talk and maintain a personal relationship with the constituency and the people in the area, the local people, so to speak. And I think I must say that having stayed as a monk in the center, in a high-profile meditation center in Belgium, and now having started a new meditation center in Holland, I have never seen this kind of interest interest for local initiative and local public sector. So I fully agree with this, and that it is a very good thing to see this in the UK, and we hope that this custom or this structure will be also picked up by other countries, which would be a very good thing. It reminded me of a story which is often told in Thailand, that there used to be a king in the past, a Buddhist king, who had a large bell which hung out at the garden of the palace, and it had a sign saying that any person who had some grievance or anything he'd like to talk about with his king, that he just rang the bell and the king would come out to see him. This is, some people have declared it as a legend, but, the historians, but it's a very powerful story, and it's also something that very much connects with what you were just saying. Just now we were talking about some of the important culture that is being passed on in Buddhism, which we always emphasize very much in our trainings. And if you are not in a rush, I'd like to spend just a few minutes talking about that for a moment, so you would have the opportunity to learn a bit, because I can imagine that you do not come into a Thai temple every day, or even if you would, you might not be able to find a representative that could speak or explain this in English. Just a few words, but it won't be much. We have actually, like you mentioned, there is a very important part in this connection with the local constituency in educating and also exchanging information. I think this also is very important in our tradition. What we mostly do in our tradition, though, is to give people encouragement and in leading a good and spiritual life. This is the activity that we do most, and I'm very happy that you mentioned that mindfulness is not only important for the politician in a busy and stressful life, but might also have a role in modern education if we do not longer see it as a necessary religious thing. And to connect with that, actually there is a lot of ancient wisdom that can be found in Buddhism, which doesn't necessarily have to connect with the membership of this or that church, but can actually be passed on as useful tools to self-help tools or self-management tools in our daily life. So this is actually quite interesting that many people that come here are actually not Buddhist. They're just people that like to know a little bit about the ancient wisdom of the East to practice and improve themselves, and we hope to contribute to that. And also, I've just this list we often use in our trainings, which is important. First of all, to learn people to practice cleanliness and orderliness. I'm going just to show a few pictures of what we do here. So I know you are running out of time, but it won't be much. Just the key moments. So one important thing that we do in our trainings, which you can see in the pictures, is we do trainings for both adults and young people in cleanliness, orderliness, learning, giving youth the chance to learn about discipline from a young age. But because it's always hard to find the proper place anyway, this is an important part of the training for the youth. And here you can see a few youth that are training in our temple. So we do not only teach meditation, but we also think it's important to provide a culture which leads to mindfulness and meditation and gives people, the trains children from a young age, but also adults, the key habits to help them find happiness and prosperity in their lives. This is one important thing, the cleanliness and also the orderliness. I gave the example to the audience just before you came that is actually sometimes we clean the meditation room even if it doesn't look dirty. And you can think of that as a way to clean the mind, as to clear up the mind. We do not always aware of the cluttered up, how our mind is sometimes cluttered up with all kind of thoughts. But once we start to practice the mind in meditation, in stillness and mindfulness, we actually discover that there is a lot which can be gained by taking this moment of stillness, of cleanliness. So there's also another element, apart from the discipline, there's also another element of politeness and gentleness. So in our trainings, we try to teach people, both adults and young people, and also older people that come sometimes for the trainings, to practice generosity. You can see here an example of an activity for scouts that involved. This is actually by chance. I wasn't aware that you were going to mention scouts. So the scouts are trained to practice generosity. Of course, this is we talk with the organization or with the schools that come, whether they are interested in such an activity. We would like the children to and sometimes the children, very often they prepare something from their own home to give to the monks, to the temple. And it's very often just maybe a small cake or even a few sandwiches, but that will give a habit of giving something, providing generosity, which they might use in many aspects of their lives. This is another example. And what we also emphasize on, for example, meditation retreats from early in the morning, so that people also can learn from the monastic routine. And we try to provide people with a whole picture of building character. Of course, important and key factor is meditation and mindfulness. Whether you're walking or you're sitting down, we try to provide this as an important habit, which we believe in modern society can be used in modern lives. There's actually a teaching about from the Buddha in which he talks about that modern society, or that society will progress if, as long as people keep meditation alive and keep the tradition of meditation alive, but also, like you mentioned, meet each other, talk with each other. And when this is actually an example that the Buddha mentioned of a society that was actually one of the society, an ancient democratic society in India at the time. But unfortunately later this society was conquered. But in the time of the Buddha it was not, and it was a very powerful society which was just an example of, like you mentioned, how important it is to have democracy, and also how important it is to have this element of training in meditation and mindfulness in modern society. Unfortunately, most of us do not know as much about politics as perhaps some other audiences which you have visited. But we think many of us try to bring some character and mindfulness and meditation into modern society, and I hope we can somehow connect in some way. I think this is a cultures. For example, many people from India or other exchange. But at the same time, the need to develop a culture that is very strong and important to keep up values and norms that keep the fabric of the society strong and healthy. So I'd like to thank you very much for your words and your talk. And I'm so thankful for the audience to be a very patient audience to listen to me, and also to for this program to stay with this program. So I would like to close with these words, and thank you for joining this activity, and I'd like to close for today and give the word back to the Master of Ceremony.
Thank you very much, Arpi. Just before you go, I would like to invite Mr. Lord up here to receive a small token of our appreciation for attending this evening. Thank you. Very much to everybody for contributing